Hello and welcome. You're listening to The Power Reclamation Show, where we explore the mysteries, heartbreaks, and resiliency of the human experience. Together, we'll focus on rewilding ourselves through raising consciousness and dismantling domestication. This is a collective journey of challenging hierarchical systems of power over, as well as our own personal conditioning and limiting belief systems. This show is about embodying the power of love, presence, and our own inner authority. Welcome, dear listener, wherever you are, whether you're walking, resting, driving, cooking. Thank you for being here with me. For me, it's 12 degrees here in the Rockies, and I'm nestled by the fire with my dog Angel, and we're surrounded by sparkling holiday lights and candles. Feels cozy. And this episode's something that I've been feeling for months, and so I really want to offer it from a deeper layer of my own experience. And as this year draws to a close, this liminal space where the veil gets thinner, I've been sitting with something I think many of us feel, but maybe rarely talk about. It's this subtle phenomenon in which we're lulled into gently numbing ourselves, all while not noticing that these subtle coping strategies have replaced a sense of feeling fully alive. Or maybe we are noticing and we just can't stop ourselves. So today I want to talk about loneliness, about overwhelm, and about numbing, and about why I'm creating a space for us to tend to all of that starting in January. So let me start with some context. There's a specific kind of loneliness that I see everywhere, in my clients, in my friends, in myself, and in the world. And it's not the loneliness of being physically alone. Because quite frankly, most of us have many of people that we're around. We have responsibilities, we're in lots of conversations, relationships, and many activities that we get to choose from every single day. But I'm really talking about the loneliness that arrives even in togetherness. When someone's with you, but their presence doesn't really meet you. You know those moments when you're sharing deeply from your heart and they're not actually hearing you or seeing you, despite their sincere love for you. Maybe it's because they're stressed, or they're overstimulated, or preoccupied, or like most of us, their nervous systems are running in survival mode. Or simply, this is summed up as, there is so much noise in the world that presence itself has become a rare experience. And even when we love people deeply, and they love us, something can still feel achingly unattended to, unmet, or unwitnessed. And this loneliness can be subtle, and it can also be very obvious. And most of us have gotten used to holding it quietly. And here's what often happens next. Because our bodies are brilliant and innocent in their instinct to protect us, we numb. Not necessarily dramatically, not necessarily even destructively. Sometimes just very quietly. We numb in these socially acceptable ways that don't necessarily look like numbing. We might be pouring our energy into others while ignoring the needs we have that we're afraid to even name. We might overwork to dodge the ache for a more meaningful connection or comfort. Or we might find ourselves scrolling, comparing, feeling less than as time slips away on social media, and we grow heavy-hearted as we look for the next hit to now pick us back up. Maybe that's caffeine or sugar. Numbing is a freeze response in the nervous system. And freeze, it's a nervous system whispering, this is too much. I can't process this right now. Let me shut down so you can keep going. It's innocent, it's adaptive, it's human. But here's the cost. When numbing becomes our baseline, we lose access to the deeper intelligence inside of us. Our intuition, our gut instincts, our heart's desires, and our own aliveness. We stop hearing the whispers of our own life force, and we might even override the yes in our belly or dismiss that no that we feel from deep within. We abandon ourselves without realizing we've even left. And numbing, it's not a moral failure. It's basically a nervous system inheritance in a world moving far faster than our bodies were designed for. But numbing is also a doorway. It's a teacher. It's a signal that something inside of us wants to come back online. And that's where my story begins. Last November, I slowed my life down to a degree I had never allowed myself to do before. And not because it was convenient, and not because I wanted more self-care. God knows I have plenty of that in my practice to keep me going. But my system very clearly demanded this. I paused all my traveling. I stepped back from larger client contracts, and I stopped pouring energy outward. I started to rest in ways I hadn't in decades, maybe my entire life. And in the stillness of last winter, something rose to the surface that had always been there. But I think I'd just been too busy, too responsible, or too attuned to others to fully feel this. This was a loneliness I didn't really have language for, because it wasn't from a lack of people, but really from living in a world where overstimulation has become normalized, where stress is constant, where survival patterns shape our interactions, and where depth is often more rare because everyone is trying to keep their own internal ship afloat. In a world where so few of us are truly able to be present, and when no one is truly present, even loving relationships can feel spiked or even subtle with heartbreak. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving last year, and I was sitting by the fire with those same sparkling lights and candles that I'm around right now, when this clarity rose through me like a tide. We need a place where primal, undomesticated intelligence can return to the surface. A place where people can put their armor down, where presence can be practiced, protectors can soften, and where our nervous system can exhale. And out of that moment, I conceived the first version of a new program I plan to launch this coming January called the Revealing Wisdom Collective. After that day last year, I took that inner fire. I hired a team and I built the entire platform over 3 months. I was so devoted to this that I was giving everything to this process in between my work hours. And then late February, I completely aborted the entire thing. Not out of fear, but because life asked me to tend to something much deeper. And that was my health, my energy body, my nervous system, this primal intelligence that I now am perceiving as really my primary attachment. And I want a partner, an attachment that's secure. And so I knew that there was more tending that needed to happen with my nervous system and my reactive patterns. And quite honestly, my own patterns of self-aggression. So this past year became a profound study in how to uplevel my nervous system capacity in a world that's only getting louder and more emotionally intense. This time retaught me the medicine of slowing down, the necessity of stillness, and the intelligence that only rises when numbing melts and presence returns. It showed me that last year I really wasn't ready to hold a space of this magnitude because I needed to deepen my own wholeness first. But now, after a year of tending, listening, recalibrating, I feel like I'm brimming with readiness. And this is a cultural moment where we are collectively admitting the speed of the world literally is outpacing our biology. Overwhelm is normalized, and that is incredibly problematic. Our emotional bandwidth is often very thin, and this causes more stress and more reactivity, and then often more self-aggression. Our relational presence is often rare, and then this increases loneliness. Life feels like tending fires instead of tending to our hearts. And many of us are struggling to navigate all of this. Our bodies are asking for something different, something slower, something more human, and something more primal. A return to coherence, to breath, to this inner rhythm, and this quiet place inside that has so much wisdom to reveal to us when we're able to listen. And this is the call I've been feeling. And I know I'm not the only one. So the Revealing Wisdom Collective, it's not really a program, it's not a course, it's really a sanctuary. It's a place where your nervous system can explore deeper safety within yourself, in the presence of others, and in your own presence. A space where numbness can melt, breath becomes conscious allies and power sources, where transformation can happen through presence rather than pressure. God knows we already have enough of that in our lives. And even intuition can rise naturally without trying to force clarity. Because quite frankly, belonging to your deeper wisdom is actually where all of our power source lives. In this collective, every 2 months, we'll be going through one of the 6 power gateways from my power reclamation map. And each gateway is a unique terrain to create inner coherence and reveal our inner wisdom, to notice where we might be giving this power away, having a hard time accessing it, or even feeling somewhat scared of this power. The first gateway is centering power, and this is where we're returning to our inner access, and we're learning to live from grounded presence instead of survival pressure. And we'll be looking at this a lot through our biology. Of course, we'll always be weaving in psychological narrations and how that weaves into these power centers. But I also feel that we need to be looking at our biology and moving through the literal nervous system for the healing. The second power that we'll be looking at those second 2 months is relational power. And this is going to be looking at how we repattern the ways that we relate to ourselves, to the world, calling forward more attunement, more honesty, probably more boundaries. And ultimately, this will bring us, I hope, more intimacy with ourselves and with others. The third power is self-acceptance power. And this is, in these 2 months, we'll be really looking at how to soften the inner critic, releasing shame, and letting our humility be held with tenderness so true change can happen. The fourth power is wild power. And this is where we're reclaiming these instincts, we're reclaiming our aliveness and this untamed vitality, and really allowing the deeper animal of our body to lead again. The fifth power is intuitive power. And this is a return to, or it could be a sharpening of, our inner guidance, our inner authority. And often these subtle channels are found through sensing, perceiving, beyond just the mind. And the last power, which will be next November and December, will be erotic power. And this is not about performative driven sexuality, but it's really about attuned and ecstatic union with life force and with our heart intelligence. It's about an awakening at the full spectrum aliveness that's possible for each one of us. And we'll engage with these gateways not through performance or perfection, but through breath and movement and nervous system recalibration, and allowing the wisdom that rises when we gather in a coherent field together. This is a space where you don't have to hold everything alone, and where you don't have to be the strong one. And you also don't have to keep numbing yourself to keep going. This is a place to thaw and open and be embraced by your own wisdom. It's a space where your deeper self is not only welcomed, but often rediscovered and coaxed back into the light with this kind of loving presence. And the rhythm of this space really matters. It matters a lot because it honors your biology rather than the culture's obsession with output and performance. And so the rhythm that I've built is not for optimization, which is a hard thing for my mind to wrap around since I'm so process oriented and have an operations background. But this isn't about optimization. It's about coherence. So 3 calls per month will mirror how the nervous system actually integrates. First, through experience. The second week, we'll go into an embodiment practice. The third week, we'll be practicing and receiving the embodiment of what we're learning in relationship with each other. And then finally, the fourth week is a time for rest. It's a spiral, not a sprint. And it's a way to return to the body that doesn't have us driving through performance. It's basically more of a remembering. And so here's how we'll move through each month. The first week is the gateway transmission. And this will be a 75-minute live session where I orient us to the specific power gateway that we'll be entering for the next 2 months. You'll receive the map, the openings, the nervous system patterns, and the inner invitations to explore with this particular power. And then in week 5, we'll circle back to this phase for deeper learning and meaning making. Then we'll move into week 2. And this is the embodiment practice. I will guide you through a somatic session, another 75-minute call, where we'll explore breath, movement, subtle body awareness, intuitive attunement. I'll be drawing on Kundalini yoga, heart math, and energy work that I've been studying for the last 20 years. And this is where the gateway moves from concept into your tissues, into your body. You'll come to these classes with a yoga mat, a blanket, and really cozy clothes, and be prepared to meet yourself deeply in a space with very little external stimulation. And for those of you who want to take this embodiment phase further for this particular power, this is the week that I'll be offering an optional 40-day immersive practice that will be matching this power that we're exploring. And then again, we'll be returning to this embodiment practice in week 6 when we start the cycle again. And then in week 3, we'll be entering into what I'm calling relational mirroring and engaged practices. So this is an integration time, which really amplifies when we do it together. So in this session, I'll be guiding you through some small group practices, some relational somatic attunement. And really, this is going to be about witnessing and being witnessed, and really exploring your learning arc inside of the collective field. This is where being present for one another becomes the medicine, because where being seen or seeing others really can open our hearts, and we're feeling our shared humanity, our victories, our struggles. They can mobilize us to stay awake and alive and not to numb. And then we'll return to this relational practice again in week 7. Week 4 and week 8 are going to be rest. Initially, I planned this phase to be another engagement week, but then I quickly realized that doing more is not actually aligned with actually remaining coherent. You don't need more to keep up with. You often need space to feel who you truly are. And this is your week to rest. You can return to any of the practices we've done. You might want to use this time for a special date with you and your nervous system, and how you want to bring it into a state of calm. So this is the journey. We'll do occasionally within this series, I will also weave in seasonal rituals, somatic journeys, or even guest teachers that have something that can support the power that we're navigating through in those 2 months. So that's the rhythm. 1 full cycle with 2 months focusing on one of each of the power gateways. And part of this design is really to retrain the body, because I want to support all of us to remind the nervous system that rest and digest and integration are not luxuries anymore. They're actually requirements if we want to be coherent. And when we're coherent, we have more access to our true power. We have the ability to interrupt patterns that might be giving us life experiences that we don't really want anymore. We might have the opportunity to keep our heart open when it really wants to close. We might have insights and clarity about what to do next with our lives when we're actually giving space to listen. So this is what journey is an invitation to. So when I structured these rhythms last winter, this deeper truth really was arising in me that none of us are meant to carry this much, not in our bodies, not in our hearts, and we're definitely not meant to carry this alone. We're just not meant to carry life in this way where we feel so isolated and numbed out from our own true self. We're really meant to carry life side by side, and we're meant to be seen, we're meant to be known, and to be met in our most vulnerable and open-hearted humanness. For me, this is what true belonging is. And when we're all in collective survival, and we're overwhelmed and we're numbing just to get through the day, it becomes so much harder to give and also to receive this essential nourishment of our presence, of clear mirroring that our souls are so hungry for and our hearts so deeply crave. So in that long winter stillness, life whispered a clear instruction: create a field where people can gather, breathe deeply, and come home to themselves, and to be mirrored in the profound medicine and brilliance that they often can't see on their own. So with all of that being said, I can feel life circling me back to this original fireside moment, but now I feel like I can hold it with a steadiness and integration that I didn't fully have before. The collective wasn't really ready to be launched last year because I wasn't ready. My nervous system needed more deep rooting. I needed to expand my capacity. I needed to study the power of coherence at a deeper level. And I needed more devotion to my own aliveness. So this past year, it's become a profound study in rising through my own recalibration. And it's shown me the medicine of slowing down, the beauty of deep solitude, and the intelligence that arrives only when numbing melts and presence returns. I really wasn't ready to steward a field this deep last year. I had so many different layers that needed deep tending first inside of myself. But now, after a year of living what I teach, I feel like I'm really truly brimming with readiness in all of my imperfect ways. And the people who are meant together are being called. So if this is you, if you feel the loneliness beneath all of the doing and responsibilities, or if you feel the numbness beneath the surface, if you feel the exhaustion beneath your strength, and if something wild and ancient inside of you is ready to return, this is for you. And speaking of ancient wisdom, I witnessed the power reveal itself during a recent sovereign return retreat with a client at my house last month. Here was a woman navigating the shock and devastating betrayal of something significant that had happened in her life. And yet, in the noise of rage and grief and humiliation, she kept finding these small openings back into joy and back into her breath. And what I saw was a woman starting to access this deep well of self-compassion that felt like it was a healing balm that she'd been waiting for her whole life. And she also touched compassion for the one who broke her trust and lit this flame of humiliation many months ago. This is true power, the ability to hold complex, extreme emotions at the same time, to refuse victimhood, to meet the unbearable truth of betrayal with grace, to give in to 3 months of pure rage that this woman felt, and then eventually make way for brimming joy, beauty, and forgiveness, and a fierce acceptance of life as it is. This is what expands our capacity. This is what teaches our nervous system that it's safe to be home inside of our body. This is what grows our love. If this kind of remembering speaks to you, you are warmly welcomed to the Revealing Wisdom Collective. And when the doors open, the pricing will be $66 per month for the first 10 people, and then rise to the regular price of $111. And there's also going to be a special discount for those of you who want to sign up for the full year. So more information can be found in the show notes or on my website, Revealing Wisdom, under the Offerings tab. Thank you for being here with me today. As we close, I want to offer a piece that feels alive in me right now, something that came through as I was shaping this episode, that the collective isn't about striving or becoming some improved version of ourselves. It's about remembering what's already here. It's about softening back into your own presence and into the truth that lives beneath the noise and letting your body lead you home again. So before we end, I want to leave you with this question, one that keeps circling inside of me. Who do you become when you stop numbing, stop brushing, and listen again to the heartbeat of your own wisdom? This poem is for the part of you that already knows. It's called The Returning. There is a door inside you. You've been walking past for years, quiet, unlit, waiting. It does not ask you to earn your way in. It does not care how much you've achieved, how strong you've been, or how well you've held it together. It only asks this one thing. Come back. Come back to the breath that remembers you. Come back to the body that has carried you farther than your mind ever could. Come back to the primal animal inside of you, the one who never left, only curled itself into a small ball as you courageously attempted to survive the speed of the world. Come back to the place beneath performance, beneath striving, beneath the old instinct to be impressive, prove yourself, or dazzle others so you don't feel so alone. Come back to the pulse of your own wisdom, the wild rhythm under your ribs, the ancient intelligence rising in your blood. Come back, love. The wild in you is still warm. The ancient in you is always listening. And the path home has been waiting. for the quiet yes rising from your own voice, for the drumbeat of your footsteps shifting the ancient sand and the granite of this earth, and for the soft wings of your breath bringing you back home to yourself. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you want more, you can subscribe to this channel. This will automatically queue up the next episode for your listening. If you have a burning question or topic you want to learn more about, please send an email to Ask Anne Marie. The direct link is located in the show notes. And please leave a review. This keeps me inspired and focused to bring you more. If you want to learn more about my work as a power reclamation guide, leadership coach, and organizational culture consultant, you can visit my websites in the notes. Thank you again for joining today.